Okay, here we go. We have one of the most successful male models of all time, Tyson Beckford. Welcome to VladTV.
What's up, homeboy? Good to see you, bro.
We used to live by each other. Like
yes,
back
we did.
in Jersey, back in the day, we used to always run into each other.
Yes, yes.
Man. So we go back.
Yes, we do, sir. Before all of this, when I was still in my heyday of fashion.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, so we're finally getting to sit down and do an interview. Yeah,
about time, ever, bro.
About time.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. This is our first time sitting down, so I want to start in the very beginning.
Okay.
So you were born in Rochester.
No, this rumor has been spreading like wildfire. I was born in the Bronx. I went to school as a teenager in Rochester, and that's where the confusion is. You know what I mean? So it's a crazy confusion. I don't know how it is, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah,
it is.
So I'm a Bronx kid.
Okay. You're a Bronx kid.
Yeah.
And you have a very interesting background in terms of your nationality.
Yes. I'm Jamaican, Panamanian, Chinese, Portuguese, Spaniard, and then Dutch as well. So I'm all kind of mixed up.
Okay. And I guess at one point, your family actually moved you back to Jamaica?
Yeah, when I was 6 months old, I moved back. My mom moved us back to Jamaica. And then I grew up there until I was about 7, then came back to the U.S. then. And that was like culture shock for me because, you know, I thought I was an island boy, you know, growing up there in Jamaica, no shirt, no shoes, you know. Just living off of the, you know, the mango trees and all of that. And then, you know, it was a shock when I saw snow.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. And you're actually from a family of 7.
Yes. There's a ton of us in the family.
Okay. And you actually described yourself as the black sheep of the family, the wild one.
Yeah, I was considered the black sheep of the family only because I was like the daredevil. I used to like set up jumps on the sidewalk in front of the house and take my bike and just jump over stuff like trash can, dogs, cats, anything that would hold still for me to jump over. I would even jump over some of my friends, but none of my siblings would let me jump over them. And then I got into the dirt bikes and, you know, and then my craze for motorcycles started, you know, and then it just, to this day, I'm still always doing that. Like the other day, I was just doing donuts in front of the barbershop, you know, in my homeboy's Daytona. So he didn't like that too much because I killed his tires.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So you come back to Rochester, you go to high school there. And, you know, you mentioned some of your interviews that the kids actually used to make fun of you in terms of how you look.
Yeah, I was teased a lot in school growing up because, you know, I had a when I first got from Jamaica, I had this huge afro. You know, the afro was in at the time. And, you know, I had a very thick Jamaican accent. And, you know, the kids used to just make fun of me and call me boat boy, coconut, all kind of names. You know what I mean? You know how kids are. But like, it helped me because it definitely made me tougher and, you know, thick-skinned, you know?
Well, I guess the kids actually used to call you Mr. Chin.
Yeah, Mr. Chin, because, you know, every time I smile, you couldn't see my eyes. So they made fun of me. And then they used to see me with my grandmother, like walking up and down Boston Road in the Bronx and be like, yo, why you always with that Chinese lady? And I'm like, yo, that's my grandmother, son. And they were like, no way. They were like, okay, that explains the eyes. And as people got to know me better, they realized, you know, my ethnic background and, you know, and then, you know, we're like, I wouldn't say we were like first generation to come to America from Jamaica, but we were part of that big Jamaican wave that came in the late 70s.
So you're going to high school, you're growing up in the States. And this is actually an interesting part about your history that I didn't know until I started to really research it, is you actually used to run with the Shower Posse.
Yeah, that was my, I was a teenager then. I didn't know no better, man. And I used to get like, when dudes talk about gangster, I'm like, you don't know gangster. Like the shit I was seeing in high school and what the crew was doing was crazy. I mean, because if you know the history of that, it went from from New York to Texas to Miami to Jamaica. It was just like the whole Eastern Seaboard, you know. And a lot of the members recently just got out of jail, so I've run into some of them in Jamaica and stuff. So it's been cool, you know, seeing them because now they're like, because I was a little kid of the crew, so everybody's like now like, wow, you done grew up, you know, became somebody famous, you know. Meanwhile, the rest of them did a lot of time. A lot of the guys got like 25, 35 years and stuff. You know, thank God I didn't get indicted and all of that stuff. So
Well, the Shower Posse is a very notorious crew. I mean, I would
yeah.
say that's the most famous Jamaican gang, you know, in
Yeah,
terms
no,
of
we were.
visibility and the media and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they were like international. They were in Jamaica, they were in Toronto, they were in the US.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like, how'd you even get mixed up with the Shower Posse?
Actually, it was just they were friends of a friend, and you know they just used to we used to all just hang out because you know we had that one thing in common. We were all from Jamaica, and we all used to go to the same restaurant. And next thing you know, I just started, you know, they needed a connection to this person or that person, and you know, and then that's how you kind of get swept up in it. But back then, we didn't think of us as what it is known today. You know, we just thought we were just a bunch of guys hanging out, making money. And then how the extension of it went crazy. So, you know, I was able to get out of it before, like, you know, when I graduated high school, I was like, yo, you know, I went back to New York City and then was on my pursuit of, you know, of celebrity stardom. And that's how I got out of it. But at that time, you know, when I was leaving, a lot of the guys were getting indicted, pulled in, and, you know, we had somebody in the group that was a snitch, and, you know, he definitely, it was funny when he came around because we all kind of knew something wasn't right. You know, he was asking way too many questions, you know. It's straight out of a movie. So, you know, if you got any brains and intelligence, you pick up on shit like that. So then you'd be like, all right, something ain't right with this guy. Let's walk away from him, you know. And, you know, he came to me at least 3 times asking me all kinds of questions. And I just was like, and I felt like the second time I knew he was wearing a wire. So it was, you know, I'm working on a book now that, you know, I might put a little bit of that in there. So, you know, it was definitely a life like no other. Yeah.
Well, I guess you had talked about while you were with the Shower Posse, you know, you stole cars, you were doing some weed, and there was also a lot of guns that were circulating.
Yeah, a lot of that was going on. I mean, the whole time it was, you know, I never put my hands on any of the stuff, but I knew how, like, I had an expertise on how to, like, take them apart, clean them, fix them, you know, and that was something I learned when I was 13 from, you know, growing up in Rochester and hunting. So a lot of my friends, you know, my Jamaican friends never experienced any of that. So, you know, and like I knew how to use bow and arrows and all kinds of craziness, you know.
Well, you said at one point you got indicted by the feds as a co-conspirator?
Yeah, they had tried to bring me up on it, but then there wasn't enough evidence, so I was able to get out of it. And due to my mom, she really, like, you know, took the weight of a lot of things and just made sure that, you know, I had a future, you know, because otherwise I probably would have got caught up in some shit. And I never really, you know, was hands-on with any of that shit, you know, so it was a good thing for me.
Well, and you talked about how later in life, even when you started modeling, you still, you know, would carry a gun in your backpack sometimes from, you know, those days.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, back then was just, it was survival of the fittest. You know how New York City was in the 80s and the 90s. It was just, you know, hip hop was just coming up, and, you know, dudes was getting robbed and, you know, killed in the street. I got robbed on the train before, and I just never liked that feeling of being, like, you know, vulnerable. So I just said no more of this. And then that's when I started, like, you know, going to castings and still had, you know, back in the hood, they used to call me Two Guns, you know, and because I always kept two with me. But, you know, it was just a different lifestyle, man. Just so different from what it is now.
Yeah. And when you talk about, you know, gangs in Jamaica, like the Shower Posse, I mean, they're actually aligned with the Jamaica Labor Party, the JLP.
Yeah.
You know, the gangs in Jamaica were tied to, like, what
Political
we
ties,
consider
yeah.
Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah.
Like it was that
I mean, it's the
serious over
same
there.
thing. You got, Republicans got their gang and Democrats got their gang, but it's not called a gang, So
Right.
there's members of the party that are willing to do what they might call patriotism. So, yeah, being a patriot. Yeah.
Okay, so you graduate from high school,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to college for one semester.
Yeah, I go to college for one semester. I went to Rockland Community College in upstate New York, which was Rockland was probably about 20 minutes outside of New York City. So my mom was insisting on that, I go to college, but I had a separate plan, was to go into acting, entertainment, anything, I could rap a little bit. And then, back then, I still could still dance and all of that, because I grew up doing breakdancing. So for me, it was just like, anytime you went back to the Bronx, it was just like, everybody was talking about, they're making a movie, Crush Groove. And, it was just exciting to hear that kind of talk in the neighborhood. So for me, I was just always wanting to be in that limelight, because I noticed that the gangster shit wasn't going to last long. I see homeboys that I grew up with getting smoked, and it was just like, it's not a good feeling, man.
Yeah, I understand. And did you have a rap name back then?
Ty-Ski. Yeah, Ty-Ski. I remember one day I got caught tagging that on a building, and the crazy thing about it, the owner was super cool. He gave me a job. He said, you don't have to do this. You should be doing something else. So, that was the last time I tagged my name on a building, and then, kind of started going legit from that point on, because somebody gave me a job, which is, I think, is one of the most gratifying things that you can do for a child, growing up in the hood. Like, give them something that they look forward to and want to show up for every day. So when the job was given, man, I was so appreciative of it, because I felt like, legit, like a working person, and it made me feel good. Some people might laugh and say, why you want to be a working person and this and that, a 9 to 5 is for suckers. Nah, that's not for suckers. That's for people who got a brain on their head, who want to be a part of society,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was very inspirational for me to get that job.
Well, and I guess you were actually friends with Bokeem Woodbine and Taye Diggs growing up?
Yeah. Growing up in New York, you ran into all these guys, and actually Taye also went to school up in Rochester, and it was just, we were all just trying to, young and just, doing theater in school, whatever, talent shows, whatever. You could just tell back then that certain guys was destined for a certain type of life, and then to see us all now, it's just like, all right, the first person I saw on the screen was Bokeem, and then me and Ty also went in on Stella's Got to Get Her Groove Back, so that was very like big back then, so he got the role. He really did it good, and I was proud of him, and sometimes when we see each other, we still talk about it, how we came up and how crazy, The Rock is now. So, I wouldn't dare step foot up there again, and I think he feels the same way. It's just, it was just so damaging to people and your life and your career. You go up there and be chilling, and some jealous fool would probably try to kill you, just because you're on TV. That's how that place is, a lot of jealousy.
Yeah. Boosie calls it a hypnotized with hatred.
Yeah. He ain't lying.
Yeah.
He ain't lying.
Yeah. I mean, he actually had to move out of Baton Rouge for that particular reason.
Yeah.
He had to go move in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, for sure. It'll kill you. You know what I mean? And that's why you can see certain people from that part of town are just different. Our mentality is different because, we don't seen so much, so much violence over so much petty shit that you just be like, man, it's time to bounce. It's either bounce or die, There's no way to survive up there.
Well, you leave college,
Uh-huh.
and you know the main goal, I guess, at that point was to be an actor. But someone suggested, "Hey, listen, if you do some modeling gigs, that'll get you some money while you're going on auditions."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that was a buddy of mine, Eric Lauren Council, who worked at Source Magazine at the time. They were the first ones. They were the first publication that ever gave me a job as a model. You know, and it was crazy because I got to shoot with Nabushe Wright, who later did a bunch of other movies. That the day I met her, she was super cool. I didn't know she was an actress until I started talking to her, and then I saw her in a low budget independent film called Zebrahead. Yeah, Mike Rappaport, a few people were in that. So, you know.
Okay, so then 1992, Jeff Jones from The Source, he quote unquote discovered you, or is that not true?
Nah, that's not true either. The internet is
Okay,
a
so
motherfucker. I don't even know who
internet is a
Jeff
motherfucker.
is. I just kept
Okay.
seeing that like on Wikipedia and all kinds of little things, and the person that gets the credit is Eric. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was Eric who came up to me in Washington Square Park. I have no idea who Jeff Jones is.
Okay, so Eric Lauren from The Source approaches you and says, "Hey, we want you to be in this this photo shoot.
Yeah.
You know, this modeling campaign that is going to be like 3 pages long."
Yeah.
So, and at the time, The Source was like the Bible of hip hop.
Yeah, it was, and it was like it always had in the section a little style piece because at that time was Cross Colors and Carl Kanai coming up.
Okay, so you go through this modeling shoot, and you come out in 3 pages in the biggest hip hop magazine in the world.
Yeah.
Did things just start to change right afterwards?
Yeah, things just started happening. I started getting, because people started seeing it, you know, especially in New York, because it was a big publication in New York. So people would call me and be like, or they'll call a friend of mine who knew me. It's like, yo, you know this kid? Yo, can we get him to do this? Can we get him to do that? So I got a lot of calls for different jobs all over. And, you know, I remember one day I got a call for a company called First Down. So First Down, they made Bubble Goose coats. So I got a call and they were like, look, I got $5,000 for you. Come down to the studio right now. Let's knock this down. And I ran, you know, and it was Chi Mo from The Source, you know, and Chi just recently passed away this year. And it was just like, he originally had called Biggie because we were all friends back then. So Biggie was like, yo, I can't do it. I'm doing something else. So Chi called me, and that's how I got the job. So it was cool.
Okay, so the Source magazine thing comes out,
Uh-huh.
and it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And you're showing it to one of your brothers, right?
Yeah.
And he's telling you, like, listen, don't fuck around in these streets. You got something better than all of us. You got talent.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get lit up after this comes out.
Yep.
You know, you're always going to be a star. And that ended up the last time you actually talked to him.
Yeah, and the craziness is, it's almost, let me see, it's like we're the 21st anniversary of it just was yesterday of when he was killed. And it was crazy because I had to go to a wake for another homeboy yesterday. So it was just, you know, yesterday was a tough day for me, you know, spiritually and just mentally, you know, but I woke up this morning with just a whole new insight, just, you know, just woke up and just said, thank God I'm alive still, you know, able to still be here, do this and sit here and do this interview with you. You know what I mean? Because everybody around us is going real fast, man, you know?
I mean, how bad did that hit you? Because you were losing people, you know, running around the Shower Posse, you know,
yeah.
you lose people from just that lifestyle.
Yeah.
But now this is your own, was it your older brother? Or your
Yeah, it's my older brother. So,
okay, so.
Yeah, he was the eldest of the family. So for me, he was he was like, my inspiration, my teacher, he was the real gangster of the family. So everything I know from him. And he just was like, yo, these streets ain't for you, man. You got a talent. You can memorize lines. You can do, you know what I mean? He just always, he saw it in me long before I saw it in me, that, I was meant to do the acting, modeling thing. And just, he was just like, look, you can handle yourself in the street, but there's no need for it, go make some real paper, So that was his push. And, from that time on, I just kind of looked forward and left the streets behind. I try to stay away from anything that was illegal or could get me in any kind of mess. So he was my inspiration with that.
Right, because at the time, even though you were getting, the modeling gigs, you were still hustling. You were still fucking around.
Yeah. I mean, we just trying to pay the rent, make ends meet, and have some food in the refrigerator. Which it's a whole different, it's a whole different animal when your stomach is scratching the back of your spine. It's just, you want to eat, man, and sometimes you'll do desperate things to eat. And I'm glad I'm out of that lifestyle, because nowadays I'm like, yo, when the last time I was hungry? I can't even remember.
Right.
Because it's like, I can just get up now, open the refrigerator, or I go to the store and buy, anything I want to eat. But, I'm still a picky eater till this day because of that. I do enjoy eating a can of tuna fish more than going to a fancy restaurant and, putting some top ramen on. It humbles me every time I eat it, because I knew I lived off of it back in the day.
Well, you go and do the Source, modeling shoot, and then by late 1993, you end up connecting with Bethan Hardison.
Yeah, Bethan Hardison. Yeah, and for me, that she's Kadeem Hardison's mom, from the actor from A Different World, and then I saw him on the Arsenio Hall show. And I was like, he was talking about his mom's agency, and I was like, man, that might be my key to get into Hollywood. So, me and a buddy of mine, we made an arrangement to go to her office and try to meet with her. But the first time we went, we weren't able to. But, they told us to come back and, if we could bring some pictures. So I had shot with a photographer, and funny enough, the kid that I was shooting with, and I had just met him maybe 2 weeks prior, was Michael K. Williams. And he was like, at the time we were all trying to make it in New York, and he just started doing independent films. And, it was just like me and Michael were shooting some Carl and I cross-color stuff again, because, that was the it thing. And it was an independent photographer. He just wanted to shoot some, test shoot. The pictures didn't have any destination. It wasn't for like Source or anything at the time. We were just shooting it. So I was able to take those photos to the agency, and they basically got me in the door. And then, to this day, whenever I see Michael K. Williams, we talk about it, and you look at his career, it's just like, it's extensive. And he said, look, everybody's got their time. Your time is coming. So just, stay focused. And we used to always see each other at castings and stuff. And the one thing about New York at the time was, everybody was cheering for you. There wasn't too much haters. It was everybody wanted to succeed, and, watching Michael K. Williams blow up and, doing shows like The Wire and all of that, it was just gangster, because that was Mike.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Michael K. Williams.
Yeah,
what he did on The Wire, and then Boardwalk Empire, and really everything he's done, I feel, is just epic.
Yeah, and he's and when you meet him, he's so opposite of his characters. It's just crazy, and he's just so much fun to hang out with, man. He really is. Such good energy.
Well, you start getting managed by Bethan Hardison, and you had photos and so forth, but she's like, okay, you need to get some actual real photos.
Yeah.
So she hooked you up with a guy named Bruce Weber.
Bruce Weber. Yeah. She sent me to see Bruce Weber. And at the time I had no idea who he was. And his reach, and it just, it changed my whole life, man. Because then it was his idea to send me to Ralph Lauren for castings. So I went there, and the first casting was on a Thursday, and they were like, look, we're shooting suits, but you have such a great muscular build. We got this new line coming out called Polo Sport, which we think you're better for. Can you come back next week? So a week goes by. It's Thursday again. I'm in Ralph Lauren at 650 Madison, trying on stuff. And they take a Polaroid of me, and they take that Polaroid upstairs. They say, we're going to go show Ralph. Me not thinking it's the Ralph Lauren they're talking about. So they go in his office, and he's like, yo, this kid is great. Like, who is he? And then they were like, he's from the Bronx like you, yada, yada. His parents are immigrants, and, he's this is his first, real year at trying the modeling thing. And they were telling him, the kid's trying to do the acting and all of that. So, they come downstairs, and they say, thank you for your time, and we'll be in touch with your agent. Normally when you go to castings, you hear that all the time. And then sometimes you just don't hear. And that's just the gist of what the world is in that type of world. So I didn't think nothing of it. I maybe got like not even 30 minutes out of the building, and then my phone blew up, and it was my agent calling me to tell me that I had landed the Ralph Lauren campaign. So for me, that was like, I grew up wearing this stuff. So for me, it was like out of this world, man. That phone call changed my life, man. I went from a 100-aire to a millionaire, in a matter of like 2 years, man. Because it opened so many doors. But then again, it closed the fact that I couldn't independently work for like brands like Levi's, Gap, which I had been working for. I'd done stuff with Levi's, I'd done stuff with Gap. So those jobs were cool because I was making 7 to 10 grand on those jobs. But then when Ralph came in, it was like, it was like $30,000, $40,000 jobs, so it was a big difference.
Well, yeah, I mean, you became the face of Polo Sport.
Mm-hmm. And then eventually the face of Ralph Lauren altogether. Yeah, because I was doing housewares. I didn't even know the guy had paint. So it was like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about one of the most iconic fashion brands ever.
Yeah.
I mean, even growing up, like having a polo shirt was such a big deal in the 80s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
it still
for
is
sure.
To a certain degree,
I used
but
to have a pink polo, and I used to wear it with my collar up, all of that, bro. You wasn't living if you didn't own a polo shirt.
Right. I mean, years later, even Kanye was like, it ain't Ralph though. Talking about Ralph Lauren, like, yeah, these brands are cool, but it ain't Ralph though.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the brand. And that's the respect that Ralph was getting in the hood, and he was the hood. It was everywhere in the world. It was like, it's still to this day one of the biggest brands.
Facts. When you and Ralph actually met, what was that like?
It was real cool. It was like talking to a fellow person from the Bronx. It was like how I'm talking to you now. It's just, the guy is so humble, and he's just, he's so hardworking. And I just found out yesterday that he was in the Army. So he left college to pursue the Army. And then when he got out of the Army, that's when he started doing the clothes. So a lot of his like Army fatigues that he makes now are inspired by his time in the Army. So I didn't know that. And I thought that was so cool to find that out yesterday. And it was my mom who sent me that. So she was like, and my mom's always sending me like inspirational things. And she's like, yo, here's something inspirational from your main man. So I'm looking at it like, what is this? So I start reading down it, and there he is right there on the list. It was like a list of like 10 different influential people in the world. And, his story was in there. And I was like, I didn't know he was in the Army, because I would have, I definitely would have gave him props, because he's a veteran. So now I need to like, tell him thank you for your service.
Yeah. I mean, any really interesting stories in terms of you and Ralph?
Yeah, there was one time when we used to check each other's abs. Like we would do these presentations at Ralph Lauren, and then he would be like, "Yo, you look good and all that, but you don't got abs like this at this age." And he would lift up his shirt, so I would lift up my shirt, and we would be comparing. And that was always something fun. And then we'd always talk about his cars, and he's got amazing car collection. Like, it's only so many people in the world have the kind of car collection he has. It's Jay Leno, Seinfeld, and a couple Arab kings and princes, and then there's Ralph's collection, which is like unbelievable. So I tend to tease him like, yo, make sure you put me in the wheel. I need a Ferrari, So it was always the case with us. It was a lot of like banter, and his staff was so, so stiff around him. Yes, Ralph. Whereas I'd be like, yo, Ralph, what's up? Let me get a Ferrari, I would definitely talk to him just like I talk to any one of my friends. And, and I think that's what he loved about me and my energy. I just got excited every time he came around, because here he is, my boss. He doesn't feel like my boss, but he gets me, and, he'll ask me how I would wear the shirt or how I would do it, and you don't get that with somebody at that caliber, you know what I mean? You're talking to, this is a billionaire I'm having a conversation with, and he's just like talking to anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, well, I actually looked it up while you were talking. Ralph Lauren has a $350 million car collection.
Yeah. Yeah.
And over 70 cars of some of the most rarest cars on earth.
That's it. And one of them got my name on it. That's it.
Well, Thelma Golden, who curated something called Black Male Representations of Masculinity in Contemporary American Art, she said Ralph Lauren had used black models here and there, but nothing has ever been as daringly black as the Polo ad. Yeah. Tyson looks like a brother on the block. There's a quality of ultra realness about him. What's important about him is that he is so masculine. There's a fear of masculine black men, but many more types of black men have to be used as models before people begin to see black men in many different roles.
Yeah.
And, there were black models out there. Yeah, Polo used models, other people used black models, but when you came in, I feel like it kind of changed the whole landscape of modeling, male modeling.
It sure did, because I could beat up everybody else. So I used to get teased by Beth Ann's son. He used to call me gangster model. He'd be like, yo, that guy's so gangster. Like, he could beat up all the other male models. They're all scared of him, which was kind of the way that I kind of got into business, because, a lot of people knew about my past. A lot of people knew me from the street. And a lot of people knew, like, that guy's nice, but don't fuck with him. Don't fuck him over, because he'll fuck you up. But, like, I started to move away from that persona and to step up and, really appreciate all the nice things that were being said about me and the way that I was changing the game, and to be looked at now as a legend. Like, all the young kids call me Ledge, so it's cool, So I definitely was born to do this, and I really feel like blessed to be in that situation, and this situation today. Because I could have been doing anything stupid and, fucked it all off. But, once I started hearing reviews like that and, getting Wall Street Journal write-ups, and, it was just, it changed my whole lifestyle, man. Just changed the way I looked at things, and anytime I saw any guys doing knucklehead stuff, I would kind of like tell them like, yo, bro, I was way deeper than you. You can get out of this. Because a lot of times guys in the hood feel like this is all I got. This is, what I mean? And, you repping a block that you don't even own. Your mom don't even own the house. You know, she renting it.
Yeah.
You know, and she barely paying the rent, but yet still you walking around the neighborhood like you own the street, you know, and it's not owned to any of us. But the fact that you're willing to die for it just shows, you know, it's a whole nother lifestyle that we really need to let go, you know, and really try to own some stuff legally and you know, financially for the long run.
Well, I mean, when you talk about crime, what was really interesting about Polo during that time is that one of the biggest gangs in New York at the time were called the Lowlifes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I just so happen to be down with them too.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just like, man, it was like, I lived in Brooklyn. So when that's when I was introduced to them, because for me, growing up and going to school in Rochester, a lot of the rich white kids wore Polo. And I had a few pieces that my mom was able to get from Marshalls or wherever on, you know, on sale, or if it was something wrong with it or a button was missing or whatever, you could get it for cheap. So when I got to Brooklyn and I saw these kids, like, no lie, Vlad, head to toe, I'm talking boots, socks, underwear, belts. There was nothing that they didn't have on that was OG Ralph. And it was from like different eras, like campus, rugby, the teddy bears. These guys was just load out. And the way they dressed, it was just so clean, and you wanted to be a part of it because they looked like they just left a country club, but yet still they stepping off the subway. You know, so I wanted to know, like, yo, how can you afford that? That's a $400 jacket. That's that's $600 boots. And I was like, damn, what am I doing wrong? So then they put me on game, and I was like, wow. And at that time, I'm trying to go legit, and I said, man, I don't know if I can really go and do that. But I had some members of the lowlights that would just hook me up with stuff. So, you know, I felt like, you know, this is it, you know. But then when I got picked up with Ralph, oh man, like I was low on the low life totem pole, but then that shot me all the way up to the top, and then I got to be with Thurston Howell. And you know, if you know the history of low life, Thurston is everything. You know what I mean? That man slept on Ralph sheets with, you know, RL paint on the walls, and just, you know, he's the equivalent of, you know, Ralph Lauren from the hood. So I got with those guys, and, you know, they just took me in, and it was just like utter respect. You know, to this day, people still yell out low lives to me when they see me in the street, because they know I'm all about that low.
Yeah, I mean, because this crew, they would go into department stores like 50 deep, steal all the Polo and Ralph Lauren from the store, knock out the security guard, and walk away with like $100,000 worth of Polo.
Yeah.
They actually, I forgot which department store, but they literally made a major department store in New York go out of business.
Well, they used to hit, I know they used to hit Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Bergdorf, all the store, any store that carried Ralph, they would hit it. And, you know, it was just deep. And when they came back to the neighborhood with all of that, you just was like, I hope they got my size. But, you know, it was crazy because yesterday I just finally watched the third episode of 50 Cent's show, Kanan, and they had a scene in there where they hit the truck, and they beat the hell out the security guard. And I was like, yo, it brought back flashbacks of the 90s, because for me, I was just like, yo, this was happening in New York, you know? And especially if they were like walking down Manhattan with the rack of like, you know, Polo coats and oh man, it was probably, retailers would tell you in the 90s they lost a lot of inventory. Like, there used to be like big articles over how much inventory was lost and stolen. And then, you know, in the Polo store, the mansion, it was like top security. They brought in like ex-New York City police officers to like bring the you know, the crime down, because they were losing millions in merchandise out of the stores, you know, and they were like, how are these kids doing this? And you're not catching 50 kids that are running fast. No way. You know?
Right. Right. I mean, it's just so ironic that here you were part of a gang that stole Polo for their livelihood to becoming the face of Polo.
Yeah. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy. That's why I got to tell you, man, like, I'm definitely gifted. For sure. For sure. You know, not a lot of people are as lucky as I have been.
I mean, did you ever mention to Ralph Lauren about the lowlifes?
No,
I didn't, aware of this whole thing?
You know what? I didn't. It wasn't. How do you say that to your boss? Like, yeah, we used to steal your shit, but now I work for you. But no, it was just it's just crazy. And then to do as many documentaries as we've been doing for Ralph the past few years, it has come up. You know.
A lot of the lowlifes were actually rappers themselves. You mentioned Thurston Howell III, but there were other rappers as well. So it kind of established.
There was a lot of talent in amongst the lowlives. There was just, you know, I remember Peter Paul and they used to call them the group called the 10 Thieves. They had a single out which was really good, and it was like, you know, it was all different. A lot of them were called mop tops because they all had dreads. They could dance. They wore polo. They traveled around the world, and they had this single that did pretty good. And it was just like I think they were on VP Records at the time, and they just was, you know, it was just cool to see how many of the lowlifes had such great talent. Yeah, so there was a lot of talent amongst us. You know what I mean? And then if you look at Wu-Tang, they were kind of like, the lowlife showed them love as well because, you know, they were Staten Island, and, you know, Raekwon and those guys and Old Dirty Bastard used to always be in, you know, in Polo, you know, all the time. So it definitely, and then you had Brand Nubians, you know, Grand Poobah and all those guys. They used to rock Tommy Hill and Ralph. So, you know, it definitely took off. You know, and anytime people talk about that, they also talk about me, you know. So it's kind of love because I started out with hip hop, and to this day, the Source still gives me love. They shout me out. I shout the Source out because without the Source, I probably wouldn't have had such a good leeway in there. And I used to show up at like hip hop events, and, you know, every artist you can think of, from Ice Cube all the way down, you know, shows me much love. Like, you know, I'm watching Versus, and, you know, here's Jada Kiss, who I follow, you know, follows me. And it's just like, you know, and being a member of the Rough Riders, you know, it's definitely cool because, you know, I like to put that bike up at 12 o'clock still. At 50 years old, I'm still doing all that. Still riding my four-wheeler.
Well, before you got into modeling, you never thought that there were male supermodels, because at the time there really weren't. But next thing you know, you became a male supermodel.
Yeah, I just don't know, bro. My thing was, I wanted to get in and I wanted to do everything. So that's how I got the super, because I was doing music videos, I was doing acting, I was doing commercials. I was everywhere, man. I had landed a Ford car commercial right before Ralph Lauren, so I made a nice big check off of that. I think I made like, I don't even know, man. It was a big check I got, like 50 grand or something, plus residuals. And then that's how I got my SAG card. And then the next thing you know, I started getting like Sprite commercials. So I did at least 2 Sprite commercials. And I remember Sprite wrote me a check for 100 grand. And I walked around with that check in my bag for at least a couple weeks. And I just pulled it out sometimes eating lunch and just kept looking at it, but I didn't even cash it. So I was just like, all right, I need to cash this check now. So I basically just put it in the bank. And then I remember talking to my accountant, because I told him, I said, Ralph's got a Ferrari, I want a Ferrari. And he said, look, kid, keep working. And not even 6 months later, I was like, I showed him the check and he was like, you can get your Ferrari now. So I went to the dealer to go get one. And, you know, I was just pretty nice. I had on Rolex Submariner, a polo shirt, I think polo slacks, and probably some Air Jordans or something at the time. And I walk into the Ferrari dealer, and the lady's like, little boy, are you here with your father? Can I help you? Where is it? You want me to show him something? And I was like, no, I'm here by myself. I come to buy a car. And the lady was like, oh, you're too young. And she laughed me off. So then I went home, told my mom. So my mom was like, yo, why are you so down? I said, I went to go buy the Ferrari today. She said, how did it go? I said, the lady thought I was some little kid because, I looked so young, and she couldn't believe, somebody at my age was coming in to buy a Ferrari at the time. And then, I don't think it was a black thing. I think it's more so just I looked super young. So I told my mom. She knew a car broker. And then I told him what happened as well. And then he was like, where is this? Spring Valley Ferrari? Okay, don't worry about it. What kind of car you want? What color? So he went and ordered the car, bought the car. The car got transported down to my house. And, I went back for the first service. So I'm in the same showroom again, walking around, and a lady sees me and she's like, oh, you're back. What are you up to? I said, I get my car serviced. She said, what? I said, yeah, I bought the red Ferrari with the tan interior convertible 355 a couple weeks ago. She was like, oh, that was you? I said, yeah. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know, I had no idea. And then, over the years, we got to know each other. Me as a salesperson, so we became cool. She got to meet my stepdad. She became cool with her and my mom. It was really cool, but it was the funniest story. She said, I had no idea. And she said, as soon as you told me who you were and what you did, she said, I kept seeing you in Vanity Fair. I kept seeing all these Polo ads. And she was like, you still look like a kid, though. You still look like a kid. I said, yeah, I don't blame you. I would have been skeptical of me coming in here too, but she just thought I was some young rich kid in the store with my parents. So, funny story.
Okay, so you essentially became a rock star after the Polo ads.
Oh yeah,
and you started hanging out in Atlanta. You started hanging out with LaFace.
Yeah,
and all the people on that label. And I guess you and Chili started a date.
Yeah, we had a brief little thing. I think she had broke up with Dallas. And the crazy thing, me and Dallas became friends because she had this tattoo that said DA. So I was like, who's that? And then it dawned on me, Dallas Austin. And I was like, oh. So, we had a little on and off thing. It was cool. She was really cool. And this was right before Crazy Sexy Cool came out. And then so at the album release party in New York, I was there and I was hanging out with her. And, everything was getting ready to blow up for her, but she was still, she was still in love with Dallas. So, we just felt it was best that, leave her alone, let her and him try to work it out, And the crazy thing is, me and Dallas became friends after that. And we even joked and talked about it, I was like, bro, that woman really loves you, but I guess he didn't feel the same way about it. So,
Well, yeah, I've interviewed Dallas before, and they ended up having a baby together at one point.
Yeah. You got a beautiful son. Bless them both.
Yep. I remember there was a situation you talked about where you were modeling at the Javits Center, and you saw Jada Pinkett.
Yeah, I saw Jada Pinkett, and I came to her and tried to holler at her, but I did it too street. And then she kind of put me in check and said, my young brother, this is how you do it. And then, it was a lesson learned. And every time I see her, I'm just like, yeah, I tried to holler at her before, Will, but, it was back in the 90s. And she was just so so graceful and so beautiful. She didn't shoot me down, but she just put me, she aligned me in the ways of being a gentleman and how I approach women now because of that.
Okay, so then at one point you started doing music videos. Mm-hmm. And were you and Toni Braxton Breathe Again music video?
No, I wasn't in Breathe Again. I don't know why that comes up on my resume, but I was in.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I was only in Unbreak My Heart. Yeah.
Right.
But to Breathe Again,
Okay.
the guy looks very similar to me. We have very, our
Ah.
bone structure is very similar, but he's like 5 shades lighter than me. But, I hate taking, credit for his work,
Okay. But then you were in Biggie's One More Chance music video.
Yep. Yeah. And that's
Okay.
crazy how that happened because me and Big were down at Howard Homecoming and he came back earlier and I came back, I think I came back that like the next day or something. And I'm sitting behind this trailer and I'm in my Land Cruiser. I get out and I think I was standing outside getting ready to smoke a blunt or something. And Big comes out of the trailer and he's like, "Yo, Tice, what's up?" I said, "What's up, Big? What's going on?" He said, "Yo, I'm shooting my music video. I really, really need you to be in this." I said, "Well, shit, I just got back from Howard, so, give me a couple hours. I'll go to the house and throw a jersey on and come back." And, I came back and Heavy D, D-Nice, like, there's so many people in that video. Miss Jones, Mary J. Blige, so many of us in that video. And we just, it was a brownstone right there on 94th Street in Manhattan where we filmed it. And it was just, man, it was so much fun and love back then. And, Chris was, Biggie, was always like, because we were both Jamaican and we were both coming up in the business. He was always cordial and just a gentleman. I remember us having the same Rolex. We both bought ours from Torno on 42nd Street. And we had the exact same Rolex and we were in the tunnel one night just chilling, talking about it. And man, things like that was like, this is before he blew up. And he was just so humble and so cool, man. It hurt my heart when when they killed him, and it was just like, here we go again, man, on this, violence again. And it just was like, that guy didn't deserve that, he was a sweetheart of a guy, man. He was very talented, and there was so much more to give,
Yeah. No, quite a loss.
Yeah.
Did you and Tupac ever run into each other?
Yeah, we ran into each other a couple times. I saw him at a screening they were having for Above the Rim. And, it was only me and him in the lobby. And this photographer got the picture, but I never saw the picture, but Pac was super cool. I ran into him again when he got out of jail the last time. And I was standing at the House of Blues, waiting to valet my car, get my car from valet. And him and the Outlaws came out and he was like, "Yo, what's up, man?" I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Yo, you out here from New York?" I was like, "Yeah, I just out here working, chilling," and that was another sad case of seeing that brother lose his life too, man. So it was just like one after the other in the 90s, man. It was tough. It was a tough era.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a rough blow for everyone, especially, a few months apart, the way they both got killed.
Yeah,
they
for
both
real.
got killed
Like,
violently.
my mom was a mess. My mom was a mess because, even though they weren't her children and, she had lost a son earlier in 92, she was crying. Like, my mom was a mess when Pac died. She was a mess, just understanding what she was going through, Miss Wallace. And it was just tough because she too was a Jamaican mom, and lost her son.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah.
Extremely sad, man. And then in 1998, you actually had your own son.
Yeah, I had a son in 98. So yeah, he's a big kid now and he's in hip hop. He's in fashion. I mean, he's signed to the same modeling agency I am. And now he's just, I try to teach him some things and, I don't think he understood or still understands who I am until he's like running around the world and somebody stops and be like, "Yo, I used to hang out with your dad. Your dad is a gangster." So I don't know. For some miraculous reason, he thinks I'm he just thinks I'm some preppy old Polo model. He doesn't really know a lot of the street stories and, what he don't know nothing about the Shower Posse and none of that. I've never told my son anything about my life in the streets and, my nickname, Two Guns, nothing. He knows nothing of it,
Well, he's gonna know after this interview.
Yeah, he'll know, definitely. I'm sure somebody will pull his coat on it. My brother tries to tell him all the time. One of my older brothers be like, yo, your dad, you know. So it's crazy.
I mean, carrying around 2 guns, did you ever actually get into any shootouts? Or were you
I
just
got into at least 2, you know. But I was such a good shot. Like I like to let that thing go by your ears, let you really, let you know that we're not playing, and usually the next day I'll get like somebody from that other side to try to send an apology and say, look, man, we didn't realize it was you or something like that. So I will always be like, I was just firing warning shots, but it's not nothing to play with. Now I teach people how to shoot guns. So now I just, tomorrow, I teach them how to tactically train correctly. So I had the fortunate life of having Navy SEALs and Deltas and Special Forces as friends now. So, we're well trained.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're all legal. So just so you know, I hold 5 CCWs in 5 different states. So I fly with mine. I travel with mine. I'm a big supporter of the 2A, and everyone who knows me knows, he's a gun guy. He's a gun guy.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm not a Republican, so don't get it twisted. I ain't crazy like them.
Okay, so you started to do some movies. In 2001, you did Zoolander.
Yeah. It's crazy because Ben reached out to my manager, and because they've known each other for years, and he was just like, look, we're making a spoof movie on models. I want him to be in it, but I want him to play one of the main characters. So I was originally supposed to play one of the guys at the gas station, but Ben said, nah, you know what? I want you to be my trainer in the corner, like if I was having a boxing match, but it's going to be a walk-off match. So when he explained it to me, I was kind of confused until I read the script, and I was like, okay, I got it now. And then, the late, great David Bowie was in there. We had Mark Ronson as a DJ, and, Owen Wilson, and, it was crazy,
Yeah, I mean, it was a cult classic film.
Yeah, till this day, Part 2 ain't so good. I never even saw it. I didn't even bother. I didn't even bother.
Yeah, no, I watched it. It definitely was not the first one.
Yeah, no, the first one was funny as hell.
Yeah. Then in 2003, you were in the 21 Questions music video with 50 Cent.
Yeah, and that came to me one day. I was in LA, and Mr. Cartoon had done some of my tattoos, and at the time he was doing 50's back. So one day they were like, yo, meet us at the Chevron on Melrose, across from the high school. So I rolled up there, and it's 50 and Mr. Cartoon, just the 2 of them in the car. And, we got out, we started talking at the gas station, and 50 was like, yo, I need you for my music video. I said, say less. What's up? I'll do it. It wasn't like if Mr. Cartoon brought me somebody. It was just like we were like such a tight-knit community, and Fifth wanted me to do something. I just said, yeah. I didn't even ask for money. No money was discussed or anything. I just was like, yo, when we filming? And it pretty much just went like that. And then, they brought me a check, and I was like, what's this? It's like, yeah, we pay you to be in the video. Like, they don't pay these people like these monies no more. Like, I think it was like 25 stacks, and that was like, that's just like 2 days work on a video. So, and then I got to work with Dre and Atwell, which were like, they were the guys at the time, and I'd met Dr. Dre a few times before, but it was really nice to get a chance to work with him and to see how he is, and get a chance to work with 50 as well. But I knew definitely that 50 was going to blow up, and that video was so much fun. And then we have Megan Good in there, who I worked with on Biker Boys. So it was like a good family, and then, the fight scene. And I remember doing the fight scene with Fifth, and I said to him, I said, yo, we going half speed, but I'm cool with if you want to go full speed. And, I could take a punch if you want to punch me in the mouth or whatever, and he was like, yeah, all right, let's do it. So, we were filming and he got me a couple times and I got him one time, busted his lip, and, and that punch to the rib cage and all of that, that was real, man. We really like got it in, and to the point that his security almost rushed in one time because they thought it was a real fight. But me and Fifth, we just wanted to give such a good show, and every take we did was better than the last. So it was a really fun time to shoot that video.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of his best songs ever, I think.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too.
Off his best album ever.
Off his best album ever. Yeah, that first one was fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting how you mentioned, Mr. Cartoon kind of hooked you up. Because I remember I interviewed Mr. Cartoon some years back, and he told me the story how 50 approached him and he wanted like a small tattoo, and Cartoon was like, no, I want to do your whole back or nothing.
Yeah.
And he was like, my whole back?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm either going to do the whole back or I ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
So 50 came back, it's like, okay, fine, you can do my whole back.
So Sean Money XL used to come get all his tattoos at the shop, and 50 would come with them. And he would be like, yeah, I want you to do this, and I'd be like, I'm cool.
Really?
I go, unless I tattoo your back, I'm not interested. He goes, what? I go, I'm just gonna get lost into all that stuff. I go, I gotta get the back shot. And he goes, I don't know, man. It took him a couple times to think about it, but he came back and he goes, do it. And it took 2 days to do his tattoo. The first day, I outlined his whole back. The second day, I was driving there. He was waiting for me at the tattoo shop. LAPD comes out. 12 shotguns out. Said, get down on the floor, get down on the floor. And they told 50, they go, you gotta leave. He goes, fuck that shit. He goes, I got half a tattoo, I ain't going nowhere. That's my tattoo artist right there. And we were laid out on the floor, and LAPD with shotguns on. I guess some white Escalade had mowed down a LAPD officer on a bike. So they thought it was, we fit the description, of course, So it was pretty crazy, man. Nothing ever all the way goes smooth with giant guys like that,
And that iconic 50 Cent.
And that's how Cartoon is, man. He'll tell you what he's gonna do to you. It ain't like you like, well, I got this idea. Like, fuck your idea. This is what I'm gonna do. So it's like he's got if you think about it, he's got murals on a lot of well-known people, and then that was before he used to charge people, he would only do like high-end people, and he wouldn't charge us, I never once paid for a tattoo from Mr. Cartoon. But then when he started getting people coming in, some people were sitting with him for like big racks, and that's because they wanted to be a part of that, that whole genre of, celebrities who got, tagged by Toon, and it's an honor, man, to be tagged by Toon. I wear mine proudly.
Yeah, I mean, Eminem, Beyonce, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, like the list really goes on.
Yeah, now it goes on, man. It's some serious. Yeah. I mean, I know he was doing a documentary about all of us. I'd never seen it. I don't know if it came out yet, but he definitely got some history on us,
Yep. Well, and then you mentioned, that same year, Biker Boys came out.
Yeah.
And I interviewed Faison Love, who was in the movie.
Yeah.
And he said that at one point, he basically quit. He was like, man, fuck this movie. It's too hot. I'm getting tired of this shit. And he walked out.
He goes, you're fired. I'm like, you fired, motherfucker. Fuck this stupid movie. Nobody's gonna ever see this piece of bullshit because niggas don't wear leather in the fucking heat. Stupid motherfuckers. I'm talking to gang of shit. I see Cube over there. He's laughing, but he's like, this nigga crazy. So I'm getting a van to take me back to the hotel. I had the nerve to take me back to the hotel in a van, which was like an hour away. Like, now take me to the hotel. As I'm in the van, he goes, Faison, I got 2 calls. You're fired. I'm like, good. No, you can't fire me, motherfucker. I quit. Fuck this dumbass movie. Stupid. Blah, 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 blah. 10 minutes later, Faison, listen. You're not fired. I had been in so many scenes They couldn't just fire me. Just standing around like this and shit going, It's like, so could you come back to the set and apologize? And I just got married. I was like, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow, but not today. I need to cool off.
Yeah. And then like they called him back and convinced him to come back and do a couple scenes or whatever.
Yeah,
but he said that it was a really hard. It was a hard.
No,
shoot.
it was a hot summer when we were filming that. Really, like not normal for LA to be so hot, but lucky for me, all my scenes were at night. So they had put me up at the standard on Sunset. So the daytime I slept or chilled by the pool, and at night I went to set and filmed. But it was super hot, man. It was like it was another set that was full of people. I remember sitting at dinner time with Lawrence Fishburne and talking about how powerful a scene that we had just done. And it was just like. Working with him on set had changed my life because I had met him while I was modeling and he was walking through Tribeca and I was on my way in the same direction and he was just like, walk with me, brother. So I walked with him and he was just saying, we waiting for you, Hollywood's waiting for you. And that was like, I thought to myself, I looked at him like, Lawrence Fishburne just told me that Hollywood is waiting for me. And that was such an inspiration for me, And the next thing you know, I'm on the set of Biker Boyz with him. And that was just like, man, mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
Well, then in 2004, you were in the Britney Spears Toxic music video?
Yeah.
On the motorcycle, like usual?
Yeah, no, for sure. Look, man, I try to incorporate the bike in a lot of things that I do, like movies, TV shows, music videos, because the bike is such an important thing in my life that's always propelled me to doing good things. So anytime I could do something with a bike, for sure. And I actually left my own birthday party that we were throwing at Crowbar and went straight, I was drunk as fuck, went straight to the airport and went straight to LA and just shot the video the next day and still with alcohol in my system. And Britney being also a Sagittarius too, she was just like, I can't believe you came out here on your birthday to shoot this with me. And I was like, yeah, you asked me, so, I'm gonna represent. So a lot of times I would get asked to do music videos and I wouldn't even ask about the money, and I did that one for free. I didn't even ask her for a dime,
Yeah, and it was one of her kind of iconic songs.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Toxic.
I have a way to
one of my favorite
I have a
songs.
way to being in all the iconic songs. So that's what keeps me relevant, I guess.
And I guess at one point, you had mentioned earlier, you were part of Rough Riders too.
Yeah, I'm still down. I was repping the verse last night, and I put my vest on, to support Jada and the rest of the Locks, and I made an Instagram, and the next thing you know, the Rough Riders posted it. So we still here, and R.I.P. to X. I was scrolling through my phone the other night, and I had DMX's cell phone number in there, but man, you just sometimes when you see somebody's number that's not here no more, you're tempted to want to call them, hoping to think that they might answer, but or even hear their voicemail. But I just was like, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, such a loss, man. We actually had an interview scheduled with him.
Did you?
That was, we'd already paid him and everything. It was just a matter of trying to figure out because he was running around. And
that's why it's so important to, when people ask you to do interviews, try to do as many as you can because it might be something that, that might be your last one. You never know. The way life is going right now, you just got to keep moving positive and think good, knock on wood. Just keep it rolling.
Yeah, man. A massive loss.
Yeah.
A massive loss, man.
Yeah. And then Biggie Bismarck, that as well. And that's another guy that I knew for a long time as well. So it's crazy.
Yeah. I briefly met him once, but yeah, man, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Well, in 2005, you were in some Sean John ads. Yeah. And I guess things went left when it was time for you to get paid.
Yeah, I still to this day don't understand what was going on because I thought we were a good fit. He reached out to me and Beth Ann and asked us to do it, and then I guess I don't know, man. I heard rumors that they felt like I was getting too big and I was going to make him obsolete. But how am I going to make him obsolete? He's his own. Sean John is him. I'm just the face, bro. And I felt like, maybe it was a factor like that. They didn't want me to be as big as I was over at Ralph. But me, I came in the situation just trying to, do what I was hired to do and blow shit up like I normally do. So, we ended up going to court over the rest of the payment, which, was just heartbreaking.
Right, because according to reports, you were supposed to be paid $1.2 million for the ad campaign, and it was like 4 payments of $300,000. You got the first one, and then the second one you only got half, and it took a while to get the second one, and then the last $600,000 you didn't get, so you had to go to court.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you eventually get?
It didn't make any sense. I mean, you made such a splash in the press about it, and normally, I mean, I was getting numbers that nobody else was getting. Okay, nobody was making the numbers like me, and it was just like, why? I mean, you're this rich guy. Why is it a problem? Like, I show up on set on time, and I had to actually like pick up the phone, and my manager was like, walk out right now. I was like, what? And I never did that on the job before. Walk out like that. It was so unbecoming. And it was just sad. And it was like, yo, we're supposed to be brothers, why we can't get this done? So, to this day, I'm still mesmerized by what happened, and I just, I never got like a full explanation or an apology, but it is what it is. It ain't nothing new as far as it goes in that camp. Because I remember the late, great Black Rob telling me, you're going to run into some problems. And I didn't think about it and, didn't really digest what he was saying, but I get it, it's all good.
Well, when you went to court, did you finally get the money you were supposed to get?
Yeah, we finally got the money, but I guess they felt it needed to go to the United Negro College Fund or something like that. It's like I said, bro, it's still to this day unexplainable. All I did was just chalk it up as a loss and keep it moving,
Well, if you don't mind me asking, what was the most you ever got for a modeling gig?
I'd say Ralph Lauren. I was making roughly probably about 1.2, 1.5 a year working with him. So, and I did 6 years with him. So do the math on that. So it was good.
Yeah.
Good chunk of change. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the male modeling world, were you getting the very top of anybody?
Oh, I was getting the very top. Even though I'm not in that actual field, they still credit me to still be there, and I'm still the highest grossing out of all of them, and
Dope.
I haven't shot anything ad campaign wise since like 2008. I've done little things for Ralph here and there, and I've also, he's taken some old pictures and reused them. So, you get a residual check for that, and it's been pretty good. So I can't complain. Especially during the pandemic, I got I got 3 pictures that he wanted to use. So it was nice to get that check that you didn't expect, especially when you're just sitting on the couch trying to figure out what you're going to watch next, Netflix or Prime,
Yeah. Well, that same year, you were rumored to be dating Foxy Brown.
Yeah, nah, me and Foxy was friends. She was actually dating Sham at the time, Baby Sham. So we all knew that. Jay-Z knew that. Foxy knew that. I knew that. And the press didn't know that, because that's when she was going through the hearing loss. And that was a scary time for her, and it was just like, it was just good to have real friends around you that just cared about you genuinely and not about your lyrical skills or if you'll ever rap again, you know. And I remember, you know, Jay-Z just telling me thanks for, you know, yo, thanks for just being there for her. You know, you're a real guy for that, you know. And I was like, yeah, man, no problem. You know, because me and Foxy have always been cool. You know, I know her crew and her people from Brooklyn, and just always been cool. And then, you know, Baby Sham was also like, we still cool to this day, you know. And once in a while, Fox shouts me out. She's like, hey, what you dealing with? I'm like, nothing. How you know, so she still checks on me and I check on her. So, but we all laughed about the rumors. And I remember at the time, Russell and Kimora were together and we took a picture and it looked like two couples, you know, hanging out.
Right,
but
right.
me and Foxy were just friends.
Well, that same year in 2005, you got into a really bad car accident in New Jersey where your truck actually caught on fire.
Yeah, over there on by the Jersey Turnpike. Yeah, that was a scary situation, man. Like, you know, and again, always blessed and always thankful for life, man. You know, because you know enough near-death situations make you a humble motherfucker, for sure.
Yeah, well, you went on Oprah and you said that situation really affected your whole spirituality.
Yeah, it did, man. It just makes me like more happy and more blessed and more humble to continuously be here because, you know, that was like probably near-death situation number 8, you know, so the numbers are starting to catch up. You know, they say cats got 9 lives, you know, so you like, damn, whoo, I just missed another one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad you're alive, man.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
Well, in 2009, I guess you were dating Paige Butcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually were dating. We were dating before that. I think we dated like 2007, somewhere around there. But we kind of had an on and off kind of thing, and then we restarted again. I would actually say 2008. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she went on to have 2 kids with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful girl, by the way.
Yeah, amazing. Good spirit, good heart. You know, Eddie's a lucky guy. Eddie's a lucky guy to keep her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, then in 2014, you were in Chocolate City.
Yep. Crazy movie.
My homie Michael Jai White was in it also.
Yeah. Michael was in it, and Michael was one of the reasons why I even considered it. And you know, it was cool, but the production wasn't as good as we expected it to be. It started out incredible, and then it kind of like fell off. And you know, I don't want to blame the director. I don't want to blame the production company so much, but it definitely wasn't the actors. I mean, we had Vivica Fox in it. We all put everything in it, and it just didn't follow through like they promised us. You know, and it was kind of a letdown because it would have been, you know, a really good movie if they would have kept the same mentality throughout the whole thing, you know. And, you know, I still haven't seen a residual check on that one. So I might have to chase somebody down over at SAG and figure out what's going on, you know. And I remember talking to Vivica Fox and she was saying, yeah, you might need to go check with SAG about that, you know. But, you know, in this business, shit happens, you know. You just have to, again, pick yourself up, wash your hands, and just keep it moving, you know, because a lot of times you can't keep running the court with some of these people, man, because it just, it'll be tough on your pocket, you know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did 2 documentaries that I've never seen a residual check for. In fact, that's why I launched VladTV, because I'm not getting residuals off this.
And that's why I'm where I'm at today as far as producing and doing my own movies and my own TV stuff, because it's like you see so many other people and you work with so many other people that failed. It's like you say to yourself, yo, it's about time I get this shit together for myself. You know what I mean? And that's what's pushed me into it. So when you called me and wanted to do an interview on what's up lately, I was like, yo, this is perfect. Let me go see my boy, my fellow neighbor.
There
you know?
There we go. Well, around that time, you and Shanina Shaikh broke up.
Shanina Shaikh. I actually started dating her 2009. Yeah.
Yeah.
After
Page. Okay, because in at one point she started dating DJ Ruckus, and I guess there was some altercation that happened in 2016 between you and Ruckus.
Yeah, well, I like to clear the air on that because those two met up and they decided that they wanted to see each other, which I said, you know what? All right, cool. I mean, I can't force you to be with me. That's cool. But what happened with that guy was me and him used to be friends, okay? And normally real men don't go after other men's girls because that's just not what you do. It's like it's almost a code, and some people don't know the code, and then you can kind of tell who doesn't because that's not street. You don't do that. So I was cool with it. They wanted to be together. I had no problem. My problem was I'm minding my business. This dude sees me in Vegas, gets on the mic at I think it was Omnia, one of those clubs, and just start talking shit. And I'm just like, bro, man, what's wrong with this dude, man? I don't want no problem. I'm in here chilling, hanging out with some other people. So a friend of mine was head of security at the time there that I used to train guns with and everything. So I told him, I said, yo, my G, go tell the DJ to keep my name out of his mouth or he's going to have problems. At the time, I was in there with half of Brooklyn. And I was in there with the Italian side of Brooklyn. So they was already pissed because he was being disrespectful. So they wanted to fuck him up. And it was like there was no stopping them from doing that. So he ran out the back door like the scared man that he was. And then I didn't pay it no mind. So one night I'm in New York. I'm sitting by the bar up and down. This guy's walking out and he gives me the finger. So I'm like, he's back on his shit again? He's like some kind of tough guy? Does he not know my history? Did she not tell him who I was? So I go over to him. He's with 5 dudes and a bodyguard and one of this club security. So I had on a big Cuban link. So I took off the Cuban link, wrapped it around my fist, and I said, what's up? You want to do this? Because I don't know why you disrespected me and I don't even talk to you or your lady. You know what I'm saying? So I said, we can handle this right here. Or we can go outside. So one of the dudes said something smart and I was like, yo, you shut the fuck up because I know you know my history and I know you know what I'm capable of. So Buddy was like, one of his friends walks him outside with security. Security's like, yo, T, I don't want nothing to do with this. I'm just walking dude to the door. So he gets outside. He goes, stands by a cop, a New York City police officer. So I come outside. I'm like, I don't give a fuck who you standing next to. I ain't scared of no fucking police. The cop looks at me and then looks at him and just slowly walks down the street. And I said, yo, what you think he was going to do, pussy? I said, yo, let's get it on. So then his friend was like, no, chill. So he puts him in a cab. I got my motorcycle jacket inside. So I go back inside, go get my motorcycle jacket and my helmet, get on my bike. And then I had to go riding around trying to find the cab. Luckily, I got a photogenic memory, so I remember the cab numbers on the back. So I get on my bike and I'm following him, and I follow him back to some apartment building. And I get off the bike, and he's like, his friend is there, and I already know what was happening. I know they was going to jump me. So I kept on my jacket on, my helmet, and I chasing him like he running like a little bitch. So I finally get close enough to kick his legs out and he falls and we get this going. We getting going, Vlad. And his homeboy jumps on my back. So I'm fighting the two of them. The cab driver's watching. The doorman's watching. So, I'm like, damn, they might have me right now because they done flipped me over and they got me on my back and they're both hitting me. So for some reason, I don't know, I got this superhuman strength, threw them both off me. got up, started beating the shit out of both of them. DJ boy runs inside the building with the doorman. The doorman locks the door. I can't get in. I'm outside. Come outside, pussy. He won't come outside. So his homeboy's right there. So I start beating on his homeboy, kicked him in the fucking nuts. And then the doorman's like, I'm calling the police. And I'm like, yo, y'all don't want to fight? I said, well, fuck y'all then. So I got on my motorcycle and rode out. And the next morning I had to fly to Miami because I got a call that my grandmother was on her last hours. So I get on the plane, I land, and I call one of my NYPD boys and I say, look, last night I got in some shit. Is there an APB out for me? So he looks in the system. He says, no. He said, where did it happen? So he pulls up the footage and he says, hey, I see you and I see these two guys jumping you. Do you want to press charges on them? I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. I ain't about that world. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I said, but yo, the next time I see them, I'm going to fuck them up. So that's how that shit went down. And, to this day, he still won't square up with me. He keep running. And, I told him, I said, you know that Florida's stand your ground. I said, so the next time you and your friend think y'all gonna jump me, it's not gonna be a nice day for you two. So, I got no problems with somebody. If you take my girl, cool, go ahead. But don't come back trying to disrespect me, thinking that you're bigger than me and you tougher than me, because it ain't gonna work out. So eventually, one day I'm walking in New York City and I'm scrolling through my phone. I see they got a divorce. So, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But I just don't condone sucker shit. I wasn't born that way and I wasn't built that way. If you did any of those kind of things to people growing up in my heyday, you get two in the back of your head somewhere and you found, face up in the river or in the ocean. So it's just, it's a code to the street. And that homeboy don't got no code. So for him, he don't get no respect and he don't get no pass. So, we might be in here talking about this again, but I'm pretty sure that he's gotten the message now, because I think a lot of people have told him, yo, stay the fuck away from that dude. He don't want no problems with you, but you ain't no tough guy. So stop acting like a tough guy. And that's one of the things that you learn growing up in the hood. Don't go looking for a fight, because you might pick a fight with the wrong person and find out how deep they roll and who rolls with them, because, I don't play around, man. I'm surprised that somebody didn't tell him earlier, because I've had beefs with different celebrities and somebody's gone and told them that's not the guy. I'm trained with a sniper rifle, so I can pick you off at 1,200 yards if I want to, but I like to meet you up front because I trained for Golden Gloves. I've taken Tai Chi. My mom put me into all kind of things to try to wear down my energy. So that's one thing I don't play. Don't disrespect anybody that I love or myself. And we will never have any problems. Because they don't call me Two Guns for no reason.
And then in 2017, which was a very weird situation, knowing you, I guess you took a picture with Karrueche.
Yeah.
And that triggered a whole Chris Brown meltdown,
and the funny thing is, 50 had taken the same picture. So I think a lot of these dudes think, okay, this guy's an ex-underwear model. He's for some reason, they think I'm pussy or soft, and you can ask anybody out there, I am not that, So Mr. Man thought he was going to scare me, and I straight up took all the threats, and then the district attorney of Los Angeles got involved, and the district attorney of Las Vegas as well, because this is an open threat, and the state that I'm from is Florida. So this is taken as a stand your ground, and also Las Vegas is a stand your ground. So at the time, a lot of people don't know it, but you're gonna know now. I fly with my firearms. So I don't have a problem, you know, having them on me, you know. So I had told him, I said, look, you have a problem with me? Because I took a picture with her. Meet me somewhere in the desert. Because I ain't running from nobody. Never have, never will. So if you want to square off, let's square off. I told them, bring whoever you want. I'm gonna come by myself. I'm not gonna be running from you or hiding from you. So eventually, he issued an apology, you know, because a friend of mine told me that he got into his ear and had a conversation with him and let him know I'm not the guy. Simple as that. You know, so that was the end of that. But I mean, I had to deal with like little members of his crew who thought they were gangster. And I'm like, ain't y'all a bunch of dancers? Like, did y'all get a bad batch of cocaine or what? So it was just like, you know, man, here we go again. So I had that other knucklehead and I got this other knucklehead. So, you know, so then I remember I had did a video of me in the range with my AK. So, you know, I let them know. I said, I ain't playing. Okay. We got a problem. One of these toys is coming. Okay. Either Mr. AK or Mr. AR. One of them is coming. And I ain't coming with nobody else. Just me and that. You know. So that problem went away as well, like the others. You know. So like I said, man, I
remember that
I
was
ain't looking for no beef, but I damn sure ain't gonna run from it.
Yeah, because I remember this story spilled into VladTV. Like we were covering it.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
one point, Chris Brown.
And honestly, I would have got on here and talked to you, but you know, so many people chimed in before I could really clap back at Buddy. And then when I tried to catch up with him a few times, they was on the run. I remember one time in New York, his Sprinter was outside of a club and security was holding me back and I couldn't go there. So eventually when I got out of the grasp of security, I went to the Sprinter, and I was knocking on the door, and then along comes NYPD, the hip hop police. So they got me against the wall. They're questioning me. There's about 5 of them surrounding me, and the Sprinter gets to drive off. So I'm like, who called the police? Who snitched on me? So the police got me there, and they're asking me all kind of questions. They're like, "Where's the AK?" And I'm no lie, Vlad. I'm in some Air Jordans, jeans, and I think I had on a leather jacket. And I lift up my shirt to show that I'm not armed. I'm like, it's at the house. You want me to go get it? But legally, you know, living in Jersey, you can't bring a firearm into Manhattan.
Right.
So it wasn't on me. They knew I was clean. So they eventually let me go. And then several people tried to reach out to Buddy, but he didn't want to pick up the phone. And they all left him a message, say, look, you want to meet with the guy and discuss things like men? Or you just want to keep running around and doing this thing in the press? So a lot of that went on for a long time, you know, so eventually it got squashed. But I mean, if I saw him today, I'd still want to know, yo, bro, what happened? I thought we was cool. What did I do? Like, you didn't see me tongue kissing the girl. I just took a picture like anybody else. 50 did it like a week ago and you ain't say nothing to him.
Yeah. And I think they were actually broken up at the time.
Yeah, they were done. They were done.
So,
the girl was trying to live her life, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess when dudes fall in love, they just, you know, and they can't let go. Not to say I ain't never been in love like that, but I don't go out looking for a fight. Like, dude, you the better man. If you got my lady, she's your problem now, not mine.
Right. And ultimately, he apologized. He said, I'm light-skinned. I'm always in my feelings. And I think he apologized to your son's mother as well.
Yeah, he apologized to her as well because he didn't put the two together. She's a stylist and she styled a video. You know, and even my son was super mad. And at the time, I think my son was like 18, 19. And he was like, yo, Dad, I want to go see this guy. And I'm like, yo, sit your little butt down. I'll handle it. But at the time, I mean, my son was like, you know, my son's like 6 foot tall at the time. So he ain't no chump, you know? And he's just like, he was pissed. Because, you know, dude said he was going to, you know, fuck my baby moms and slap my son. And my son was like, what?
Whoa.
Yeah. So it was like, you don't talk like that. You would never say that to nobody else. Why are you saying that to me? Come on, man. Let's be friends.
Well, in 2018, Kim Kardashian had insinuated that you were gay.
Yeah, that's a whole nother crazy one too, man. Vlad, I don't know what it is, why they all coming after me and coming at me, but you know, I just was just like, let's not go here. Because, you know, it pressure bust pipes, you know, and you know, you got the timeline of all the shit that was going down in my life already. So this was like another one, like, oh, here we go again. And I have this motto that I teach a lot of the my students to when I'm teaching tactical training. Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. So there's no, you see all these movies people are doing, I ain't doing none of that. I'm always ready to go, ready to pop off. You know what I mean? Like, just in general, because I feel like, you know, everybody's coming for me. So for me, I was just like, here we go again. So another situation that got blown out. And then again, before I was able to do anything, the gay community stood up for me because I've always been an ambassador for them. And, you know, and then sometimes I get a couple suckers on Instagram who like try to say, oh yeah, you gay. I'm like, where's this coming from? You heard it from like that dumbass, and then you heard it from that stupid bitch, Wendy Williams. And fuck all of them. Fuck all of them. I ain't never been gay, nor do I have a problem with gay people. It's just like, you know, don't try to turn the situation into something because I got the best of you and I spoke the truth. So what if you go get surgeries? Who the fuck cares? That's your business. You know? I was just having a conversation with somebody else and then everybody dragged and tagged her in it. And she want to come back with that cis clap. I said, all right. You know, you don't want this SAS style assault to come up on you, because not even your bodyguards want none of this. Because the funny thing is about the tactical world, anyone who trains and is in it, we know each other. So your bodyguard might know somebody that I train with, and therefore they know. So they'll be like, yo, nah, don't fuck with this dude. This not the dude to fuck with. He's not a troublemaker, but this motherfucker's got skills. Such and such trained him. He trained with this one. He trained with that one. And it's just like, yo, let's just be friends. Let's wait for the real enemy to come. Because the real war ain't even come yet.
Well, you had mentioned that you met her with Scott Storch when he was dating Paris Hilton, and she was having...
Paris introduced us, and you know, like, I guess through what went on, you forget, you know, all the zero to the hero, you forget how you met people and who people you know what I mean? And there was even articles of us seen hanging out in LA together. So I don't know, you know, where that thing came from, because you know.
But were you and Kim actually romantically involved at one point?
Yeah, we were messing around. And at the same time, Buddy lived down the hall.
Kanye?
Yeah. At the apartment building where she lived. Buddy lived down the hall. But he was with the brown skin girl from Chicago at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys were messing around. And so why did she come up with the gay thing after the fact?
Bro, I don't know. You remember in high school when you were a kid or when you were in grade school, like you try to come up with the line that would hurt somebody and it would be more insulting, but you knew it wasn't really true, but you said it anyway. And I think that's what people kind of resort to, because how all of a sudden in the 90s, I'm written about as this masculine man, you know, ran with the Shower Posse. And you know, in Jamaica, we don't play that. Okay? We don't play that damn thing, you hear me? So, when this old pussy clot one go say something like that, yo, real gunman come out, you hear me? And Vlad, I'm not a troublemaker. But I'm not gonna let nobody talk about me so. You hear me? Nobody I got call me no pussy clot name. So when me just say, yo, come make we talk about it. And if you don't want to talk about it, I'm going to catch you in a bomber clot street. A war I got to take off, you hear me? Blood clot war. So, as I said before, I'm not a troublemaker. But if you want war, I'll bring a war to you. You hear me?
Well, I mean, but the fashion world is very gay.
Yeah, but bro,
to be fair,
throughout the fashion world,
and
I have to say, my whole career, I might have, and I was in the business for a long time, I might have met 3 models that were gay. 2 were probably open and the other one wasn't. But that wasn't none of my business. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the designers, though, like a lot of the famous, the Yves Saint Laurent, the Giorgio Armani's, the Calvin Klein.
Even those guys had respect. You know?
Marc Jacobs.
Yeah. And we know about...
So you never had...
And me and those people know exactly the same people. You know what I mean? Because remember, they had just come into fame and money and this world that I had already been in, that I'd already gotten respect in. So it was weird for me.
Yeah.
And I always say, yo, I don't want no trouble. So that thing popped off, and then obviously you're going to get to the part of Buddy.
Yeah. Well,
and I understand he want to defend his lady. Yeah. You got a right to.
Right.
But like Snoop said, pick somebody you can beat up. Don't fuck with people that you can't mess with. You know?
I mean, but being, you know, and I just want to, you know, and I'm going to get to the other part later, but, you know, being this male supermodel, this attractive man, and you have these powerful gay designers and so forth. Have you ever had men try to hit on you or say, hey, listen, if we do this on the low, I'll give you this whatever?
Well,
I've had gay men, you know, hit on me. It is what it is. It's not a big deal to me.
We've all had that, but in the business of this world, and when I was coming in, and how I was still going to work with the clappers in my backpack, it quickly was known like, yo, don't mess with him. And this is way back from 93. We're talking 1993. So the rest of my career never ever had a problem. Never. And no, I never went that way because that was not the way I was raised. In a Jamaican household, we don't look at those things like anybody else's household. For us, that's a no-no. So for me, it was like, never had interest, but I have respect for you. If that's you, that's you. I'd rather leave the room before we even get involved with any of that. So for me, I don't want no problems, you know? And I never had any.
Yeah.
So for somebody to say that, that's like somebody you trying to poke the giant. You're trying to wake the giant. Don't wake the giant.
Well, and then at one point, I guess there was some sort of situation where you and Kanye were at the same like club or event, and then he tried to send some people to the bathroom.
We were at Ralph Lauren's 50th anniversary, and as I'm walking in, I see a bunch of reporters interviewing somebody. I didn't know who it was, didn't care because it wasn't my business. So I proceeded to go, you know, see if I could find Ralph to say hello and thank you, you know, because he had flew me up from Miami to the event, dressed me and everything, and this was a big deal. So I later on at the dinner table that's lined up in Central Park, I got Hillary Clinton to my right and sitting down was Oprah. And then across the table was him. So I looked at him, but at no point, when you're trying to look at somebody to try to get them, give you eye contact, I wasn't getting that. So I said, okay, buddy don't want no problems. So I left it alone. And it's at Ralph's event. I'm in a tuxedo, so I'm not gonna, and I'm at my boss's 50th anniversary. No way in hell I'm gonna mess that up. So I go to the bathroom, and one of his boys comes up to me and was saying something. And I said, look, man, y'all don't want it. Not here, not in my city. No, not happening. Because it's a phone call. And I could have 50 Bloods and probably about 25 Crips come down on these fools. And it's like, yo, why? For something he said, she said? Nah, I ain't stooping no load for that. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna save it for the real war. So I let that shit slide. And then the thing about it, those people have more access to the press than I do. So I don't get to speak. So the whole time I gotta be hearing all this stuff. I gotta be reading all about it, but nobody's getting my side of the story. You know what I mean? And people always gotta remember there's two sides to every story. There's the truth, and then there's the truth. That's it. Okay? So, and for somebody like you who know me and a lot of other people that know me, a lot of people can't really speak for me. But there are some that will though and be like, yo, that man ain't like that. Why y'all messing with him? Don't wake the giant. You know what I mean? Don't wake the giant.
I guess you told one of the guys in the bathroom, I suggest you get out of this bathroom before I wipe you all over the wall.
Yeah, because I was pissed. You know what I mean? And then 2 weeks later, that video comes out about smoke. Smoke what? Smoke weed? Because it must be that what you smoking. You don't want none of this. Because we can come at you any way you want. We can come at you with the FMJs or the jacketed hollow points or the JHPs. Whatever you want to do, because I ain't no sucker. You know?
Yeah, because I remember afterwards, I think you posted on your Instagram, like you took the Boys in the Hood photo with like Kanye running and you in like the gun, in the car with the gun. And I think there was a picture of Kim K with an eggplant
somebody
in her
made
mouth.
me that meme and it was so funny. I posted it. I was like, stop it, buddy. Stop it. You just a square kid from Chicago. Come on, quit messing with people. You know what I mean? Don't mess with people that you don't have no business messing with. And if you and I don't understand, if you have a problem with somebody, you should come see them instead of talking back and forth through the press. Like there's not a parking lot. I can meet you at the airport. You know, you fly private? Okay, cool. We meet up. We can meet up and talk about this. This is no reason to go back and forth and dragging shit through the press that don't need to be dragged through the press. You know? The good thing about all this, the great thing, and you can always have this in the press that, hey man, here's a meeting of me and this guy. We sat down, we talked about it, we worked it out, and that's the problem. Nobody wants to sit and work it out. You know?
Yeah. I mean, everyone feels they're too big. But
yeah,
at the end
everyone
of the
feels
day,
they're too big. I'm never too big to have a sit down. Never.
Facts.
And I'm not going, I don't need to bring an entourage. I don't need that. I don't have one to bring. The people that I have to bring, you don't want them to come. They're not coming to talk, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not coming
and,
to talk.
And, at this point, Kim and Kanye are getting a divorce, so.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a tough time for them. I wish that on nobody. You know, I wish the best for both of them, you know? But just keep me out of it. Don't start wars with giants. You know? Because the thing is, you can always see an army coming. But you never can see when an assassin is coming. Because you don't know where they're coming from.
You know, as someone who's been in the fashion world for so long, you've seen a lot of black designers get to a certain level. Like, Carl Kanai, who I've interviewed and I'm real cool with.
Yeah.
He got Carl Kanai to a certain point. Cross Colors got to a certain point. I mean, even Sean John kind of got to a certain point. But now I feel like people like Virgil, with Off-White and, now being part of LVMH and him being the, the head men's designer at LVMH.
Yeah.
I feel like he really took it to that, he broke that glass ceiling that's always been there for black fashion designers. I mean, do you agree on that?
Oh, I totally agree on that. What he's doing has not been done before. And, I always tell brothers when they're out there, because your responsibility now is greater than what you started with. So you're a pioneer, and as a pioneer, you're setting the example for others. So I always say, don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up and say something and do something to fuck it up and then get on this cancel culture list, But, I praise brothers like him, continue to keep doing your stuff. I mean, I don't own anything from him because, I'm a Ralph kid. So, I'm happy for dudes like that doing good things. But I always say, don't fuck it up, because as a pioneer and a groundbreaker, you all eyes are on you. All eyes are on you.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. And you have your own businesses. You have a sunglass line.
Yeah, I have a sunglass line. I got a sunglass line, and I just started this Beckford garage line. It's gas guns, and we make stuff for tactical car guys, just vintage like t-shirts and stuff like that. And I like it because I don't want it to get big and huge like one of these other big like a Virgil or anything. It's for the street crowd, you know what I mean? You in a field of people, if you know, if you see the BG stuff, then you know. So you could look at it any different direction. Beckford Garage, we just small company, just doing small things for a certain kind of community, I would say, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tyson Beckford, man, we've known each other for about 15 years now. Yeah. I've always been, a big fan of what you've done and accomplished. You broke a lot of ceilings, man, because have this black tattooed supermodel break every wall that was ever set, and to continue to be successful year after year, to really push the envelope. And I think the most important thing is that just like an Obama who set an example, you have all these black kids that are growing up that says, hey, Tyson accomplished this, so maybe I'll take modeling seriously. It's not just gonna.
Yeah, and I always tell kids like,
else.
Don't let it just be about the modeling, because right now I have a scripted TV series that I'm shopping called Throttle, and it's kind of like a little piece of my life as far as the shit I've gotten into. This guy's like he's a billionaire. He's a black James Bond. He's a tech genius. And we filming all of it here in Miami. So, I'm represented by A3 Abrams in Los Angeles, and we just trying to shop it. I mean, I've talked to, a lot of production companies so far. So we're just trying to get it off the ground, and I think it'll be something that will be very good for Miami and also good for young people, because I want to hire young people, teach them how to be audio technicians, cameramen, work on a film television set. And I think there's not enough of that going on in the greater Miami community. And, definitely would love to get with the mayor's office and do something that's good for the community, and take some inner city kids and have them on set for the day, show them that they can do it too, because all the shit that I've been through and seen, especially in this city, I was here when Cocaine Cowboys was really going on. You know what I mean? I remember
Right.
I remember Biscayne being wild and crazy back in the 80s and the 90s, and South Beach has changed from the 80s to what it is now. It used to be old people in wheelchairs and walkers, you know, and crackheads. Now it's a whole different thing. So with a show like Throttle, I want to film here in Miami, and I want to hire Miami people. I want to put the money back in the community and just do positive things, man. No more arguing and fighting with people. Let's change the way the world is. Let's be peaceful. You know what I mean? Let's just walk. Yeah. Let's walk peaceful and carry a big stick. You know?
Right. Well, man, once again,
what Trick Daddy say? Pull out the stick. Pull out the stick. Pull out the stick. Pull out the stick. You know, we don't need to do that no more down here.
Yeah, man. And look, man, throughout your career, the one thing I could clearly say is that you've never compromised who you are. You've never sold out. You've always stayed the exact same person. The person that used to live next door to me, that I used to run into when walking my dogs and chop it up with, that's the exact same person I'm talking to right now. You know, you never did anything that compromised your brand. You know what I mean? You never, like, just did things just for clout or for shock value or whatever else.
Yeah, that's not how I was raised, bro. It was always raised to be cordial, be a gentleman at all times until taken out of that state. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want no problems, man. I just want to live life and be happy. That's it, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know,
you've accomplished that.
Yeah, we don't condone sucker shit, though. That's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anybody who knows me knows we quite the gentleman. We tie our own bow ties, and don't make us have to unpull his bow tie, because, you know, the only one supposed to be unpulling that is the lady you taking home that night. That's it.
There you go, man. There you go. And like I said, man, you've set such a dope example for everyone. Like, before the interview started, I told you, like, I bought a Prada suit recently, which was my first grown man suit, and it was because of a suit that I saw you wear. Yeah. You know, when we ran into each other at Philippe's back in the day. And I remember how you were rocking that shit. And I'm like, I want
custom
like
suits.
That.
Yeah, I still making them and still wearing them. You know, it's fun to get dressed up and go out at night for no reason. You know, and I'm still on that vibe. You know, my friends call me the Black John Wick, so you know I'm still portraying that role.
No doubt, man. Listen, I appreciate the time, man. I'm glad we finally got to do it.
Man, I appreciate it. Anytime you want to talk, you just reach out. Some scandal's gonna come from this, I know, but you know,
I'm sure it will. Yeah. I'm sure it will, man.
Somebody might have a clap back.
What do you expect?
Yeah, if they're not talking about me, I'm worried, bro. I'm worried for real. You know.
There you go. Tyson Beckford, man. Truly an honor. Until next time.
It's an honor to be here with you, Vlad. We've come a long way.
Yes, sir. You as well.
All right, my brother. Peace.
All right. Peace.